Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Of course, no, especially to the Vice Chair of the National Task Force to End Local Communities Armed Conflict, Secretary Eduardo Emanio, sir. Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya, Executive Director Ernesto Torres Jr., ladies and gentlemen, especially the members of the media. This morning, it is my pleasure to share with you details of the project briefs about the Support to Barangay Development Program, which we started implementing in 2021. Secretary Anyo already mentioned about the numbers. In 2021, we covered a total of 2,319 projects for the SBDB 2021. In 2022, it covers a total of 1,719 projects, and in 2023, it's 1,514. Out of the projects that I mentioned, the number of projects that I mentioned starting in 2021, 83% are already completed, while the rest are still being implemented. In 2022, we already have a completion rate of 52%, no? And the others are also being still being implemented. Out of the projects that I mentioned, no, a total of 773 kilometers of road were paved. Wow. And I refer to barangay roads. You can just imagine the impact of these 773 kilometers of barangay roads. Now our communities, no, the people in the communities can transport their produce, no, easier to the markets and at a lower cost. The sick can now be easily brought to the clinics and hospitals, and more importantly, the children will now have a better an easier way of going to our schools, no, different schools. Aside from the farm to market roads that I mentioned, you can see the pictures in there, no. We make it a point that we take picture before and after the roads are implemented, so that we can see the difference, the impact of the projects that we build in our communities. Aside from the farm to market roads, barangay roads, we also were able to build 230 classrooms, and the others are still ongoing. When we were in Butuan early this year, we inaugurated a three-classroom building. And we talked with the principal, and according to the principal, there are several classes, no, which use the covered court as classrooms. So it is very, very providential that during that time, no, the three classrooms, no, were completed. So the classes, no, which were done in the covered courts are now transferred to the classrooms that were completed through the Support to Barangay Development Program. Also, a total of 394 water supply system were completed, covering or benefiting 747,000 individuals. Now, these individuals will have better access to potable water, and which will make them less vulnerable to waterborne diseases. Aside from the water systems, we also completed a total of 195 health stations benefiting 455,000 individuals. So these health stations now will bring health services closer to our people in the different communities. We also completed a total of 5,578 electric lights in the different communities, plus one or two electrification projects in some regions in the country. So these are some of the projects that we have already completed. More importantly, we make it a point that these projects are implemented accordingly, with faithful compliance or adherence to the provisions of Republic Act 9184 or the Procurement Act. So we make it a point that our LGUs would comply with the Procurement Act. Also, I would like to point out that the funds are not administered by the National Task Force to End Local Communities Armed Conflict. The funds are directly downloaded to our local government units. In 2021, the 16.4 billion fund was downloaded to the provinces, because during that time, the provinces were the implementing local government units. In 2022, The 5.624 billion were downloaded to the municipalities and cities because as provided in the General Appropriations Act, the 2022, it's the cities and municipalities which are the primary implementing units of the Support the Barangay Development Program. The same is true for 2023. These funds were directly downloaded to our cities and municipalities. So also, of course, we encountered, our LGUs encountered some challenges in the implementation of the projects, particularly in 2021 when we still had the pandemic, and also in 2022. No? But equally important are the challenges in the implementation of projects in far-flung areas in the barangays located in the highlands. Kasi napakahirap i-implement itong mga projects na ito. Plus, of course, I already mentioned a while ago that we make it a point that our LGUs comply with the provisions of Republic Act 9184. So yun yung mga ilan sa mga dahilan kung bakit may mga projects na hanggang ngayon ay ini-implement pa. But we assure you that there are no missing funds. No, the funds are there. If the funds are not utilized, for example, they are returned to the National Treasury. So maraming salamat at magandang umaga sa ating lahat.
Okay, thank you very much, Yusek Marlo Iringan. Later on, mag-entertain po tayo ng mga questions from our friends in the media. So, at this juncture, I'd like to introduce to you the Executive Director of Ntf-Elcac, Undersecretary June Torres. Sir, for your ways forward and other plans.
Maraming salamat, Joel Egco. Muli, magandang umaga po. It is an honor and privilege for me to be seated alongside our NSA, Secretary Iringan, and ADG John Malaya. Indeed, no, BDP is a game changer in our campaign in ending local communist armed conflict. It is likewise a local peace engagement enhancer. And kami po sa Ntf-Elcac, one of our mandates is to harmonize the efforts of the different government agencies for them to contribute in ending local communist armed conflict. So dito po ay nakikita natin ang malaking tulong ng mga BDP natin in empowering communities. Because in the implementation of the BDP, yung mga communities that are involved, communities in far-flung areas, conflict-vulnerable areas, they are empowered in a way because they are consulted on what type of projects, what they need, no, in the communities. These things, when implemented, are helpful in our campaign really because it takes away from the CTG yung mga issues that they use in recruiting the members of the communities to join the armed revolution. So BDP also supports the peace and development projects of the government together with projects kagaya ng sa TESDA sa barangay, and in some regions, yung convergence areas for peace and development. So all the different agencies are now contributing and prioritizing their projects in these conflict-affected barangays or BDP barangays. Siyempre, ang flagship niyan yung BDP barangays because these are very tangible and observable. But I'd like the public to know also that aside from these BDP projects, there are individual projects being implemented by all the government agencies. No? Ito, if you will check, if you will review and revisit yung EO70 natin, Section 6 of that talks about convergence. So nakalagay dito, it is directing, the EO70 directs all the departments, bureaus, agencies, offices, including other government instrumentalities, to even include GOCCs and the SUCs, or state and universities and colleges. Lahat po sila are directed, no, to contribute to the effort in ending local communist armed conflict. It also, the EO70 also encourages the private sectors and civil society organizations to also contribute in the effort. So it is indeed a whole of government approach, whole of nation participation. But for the past 2 years, ang talagang very observable and tangible are these BDP projects, no? To include yung farm-to-market roads, school buildings, health centers, electrification, water sanitation, and other livelihood projects. So, paano natin ngayon masusustain yung yung BDP barangays? Considering that during its first implementation, the budget per barangay was 20 million. That's in 2021. In 2022, it was down to 4 million. Then for 2023, for this year, it is 6.606 million per barangay. It is very important for the public to know that these projects that were identified by the communities, no, should be implemented right now or immediately. Because pag hindi siya na-implement kaagad, no, it would remain as an issue that are being exploited, issues that are being exploited by the CTGs to recruit and to generate fund. So, to address that gap in funding, the President has issued a directive to all the government entities, no, to prioritize the implementation of their project, yung mga CSR nila, pati mga private organization, into these BDP barangays. So that way, yung mga hindi kayang pondohan from the national budget can be covered by the funds of the different agencies. For example, DepEd has so many numbers of school buildings, no, to be constructed for this year. So in their prioritization, they have to see to it that nandoon sa taas yung mga BDP barangays na school building which were not funded from the national treasury. So ang ating BDP barangay also, aside from the physical comfort that they are now enjoying because of its implementation, the more important part is that it made them feel that there is a government that truly cares for them. Tumaas po yung trust and confidence nila sa ating gobyerno, which inevitably resulted to more surrenders, more armed combatants going down from the mountains, no, and embracing peace already. Tapos sinasalo naman siya ng mga ICLIP program natin and rehabilitation and integration program. Yun nga, in sustaining the BDP programs, that is also part of our mandate, and it has to be made clear because during the past week, it was made, there's some reports saying that the Ntf-Elcac daw is handling the funding for the BDP. No, this is not so. The funds for the BDP projects are directly downloaded to the beneficiary local government, as stated by Yusek Iringan a while ago. So that's all for me at this point. I'll be very much willing to answer the question from our friends from the media as we go along in this press conference. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Undersecretary June Torres. At this point, I'd like to recognize Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya for his insights and other announcements.
Maraming salamat po to our National Security Advisor, Sir, Yusek Marlo Iringan, Executive Director June Torres, and to all our friends from the media, thank you so much for joining us in today's press conference. Let me just emphasize two things lang. Number one, that every year, the Makabayan Bloc would attack the barangay development program, characterizing it as a pork, no, as a pork barrel of the National Task Force Elcac. I think the National Security Advisor and the rest of the panel today have made clear that the NTF is simply a coordinating body. And the barangay development program is lodged with the LGUs themselves. Hindi po dumadaan dito, hindi po dumadaan sa National Security Council, sa Ntf-Elcac yung pondo. Ito po ay ibinababa diretso sa mga local government units. And it is the LGUs themselves and the barangays. It is the barangays themselves who choose what projects these are. So, because when we say pork, ang ibig pong sabihin yan, discretionary funds po yan, no? But hindi po ito ganun, no? The funds do not go through any of the agencies who are members of the National Task Force Elcac. In fact, they are downloaded directly by the Department of Budget and Management to the local government units, to the cities and municipalities, as explained by Yusek Marlo Iringan. The second point I'd like to raise today is the intrigue being sown by the Alliance of Concerned Teachers. No? The ACT party list has again shown to the public what it is good at. They're sowing intrigue. Instead of waiting for the full report of COA and the reply of the Office of the Vice President to their queries, the ACT party list has raised the threat of impeachment against the Vice President even before the details are available. This shows the political agenda of the ACT to always portray government in a bad light even before they get the complete picture. They do not wish to hear the side of the Vice President, are hoping that they can smear the VP in the court of public opinion on the basis of conjecture and speculation. Threatening the Vice President with impeachment 1 year into her term is a clear weaponization of the power of impeachment. It proves that the ACT party list is not and was never interested in getting to the facts. They are merely interested in getting as much political points they can get for the 2025 elections, no matter who gets in their way. Instead of weaponizing the power of impeachment, may we remind the ACT party list to go back what they're supposed to be doing, serve the teacher sector who they claim they represent in Congress. Instead of insinuating that it was government that was responsible for the March 22 bomb explosion in Masbate and not the NPA, ACT party list should instead bring the issues of the education sector to Congress. Instead of calling for peace talks with the communist terrorist groups, ACT party list should work with the Vice President and the DepEd to improve the quality of education in our country. Only then will the Filipino people truly believe that they represent the education sector in Congress and not the interest of those who wish to bring down government and our democratic way of life. Yun lamang pat, maraming salamat.
All right. Thank you very much. Assistant.
In 2022, which is 1,406, and in 2023, which is 859 barangays, no, are already declared cleared barangays. It was mentioned a while ago that there are already 1,570 cleared barangays. No? So the balance we'll be targeting for 2024 and beyond is 3,187. So mga 3,187 pa ang SBDB barangays, ang mga barangays which will be targeted, no, for the provision of the support to barangay development program in the coming years.
Okay.
And these the numbers came from the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Okay, sir. So, kasama na po diyan, factored in na yung 3,000 plus na binanggit ni NSA kanina. Is that on top of the 3,000 or factored in na po?
This is
For clarity.
separate. No, the 3,187 will be the barangays which will get support from the barangay development program in the coming years.
Okay. So, double the, parang 3,000 just for clarity, 3,000 and another 3.
What we already covered is 3,878.
Okay.
That's 21, 22, and 23.
Okay.
But the 3,187 will be covered in starting 24 and beyond.
All right. Clear. Thank you very much, sir. Now for the hanging question for Idir Torres, yung update daw, sir, sa amnesty, which we announced, I think, last month.
Thank you, Joel, for that question. We've been attending conferences and meetings regarding the drafting of an amnesty proclamation. So at this point, there are versions, no, different versions. First, yung isa as to whether to have one unified amnesty proclamation for all the threat groups. And the other one is to have separate amnesty proclamation for the different threat groups. And I'm referring to the, of course, yung sa MNLF, MILF, and the other threat groups, including the CPP, NPA, NDF. No? The previous proclamations were being reviewed also because, as we all know, yung proclamation, amnesty proclamation with the MNLF, MILF, RPA, ABB were already approved by former administrations, di ba? Yung sa CTG lang ang naiwan. It is still in that process. Everything is being considered. But at the moment, we were informed that the National Amnesty Commission organization would be reconstituted so that they would be a part also in the reviewing of the final draft of the amnesty proclamation. But having said that, I would say that this is the key, no, a key towards really ending the communist insurgency in our country. Because we see this proclamation, amnesty proclamation, particularly for the CPP, NPA, NDF, would be a very enticing factor for those still in the mountains, no, armed component of the CPP, NPA, NDF, to reevaluate their stand. Because what they can see at the moment are programs, genuine programs of the government that they can be a part of, no, in lifting the conditions of the communities in far-flung areas, in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. And there are genuine programs also that is taking care of former rebels. From the time that they go down, they surrender to their rehabilitation, reintegration, and active participation in nation building. I have met a lot of cadres already in my time as a former military officer, no? And those high-value cadres are one in saying that they believe this program of the government that we are implementing now in truly serving the people. Sabi ko nga sa kanila, pare-pareho naman tayo, serving the people ang ating motto. So why not come and join us, no, in the implementation of this program? So with that with those very simple words, a lot of them really reevaluated their position, and ngayon kasama na po natin sila sa ating gobyerno. And I do hope that yung mga kapatid natin nandiyan pa rin ngayon sa kabundukan are listening to us right now and do the same. We have BDP, we have ECLIP, we have amnesty proclamations, and you have a government really that cares for your well-being. Magtulong-tulungan na po tayo. Thank you.
Yeah, may I add something to what Secretary Anyo said, no, with regards to the impact of the projects that we do. You know, the beauty of the work that we do is that we get the opportunity to go down to the level of the communities, the beneficiaries of the support of barangay development projects. And when you get to talk to the people, you feel warmth in your heart, no, because of the testimonies that they give. Especially the old people, when they say that they thought they are going to die without seeing the roads being paved. They thought they are going to die without seeing any doctors going to the barrios or to the barangay. So these are things that add value to the work that we do. And to my mind, these are positive effects or impacts of the benefits of the Support to Barangay Development Program. I would like to also to add that in the monitoring and evaluation of the SBDP, we engaged third-party monitors, and they come from NGOs and the RCSOs. And the assessment is that these projects are implemented accordingly, and these projects provide or respond to the needs of the people in the barangay. So these are, I to believe, positive manifestations that we are doing right now insofar as the SBDP is concerned. We are highlighting SBDP here, the projects being implemented, but I also would like to highlight the process with which these projects are identified. At nabanggit na ito kanina ni Executive Director Jun Torres, the retooled community support program that we have done in the past years, particularly in the effort to have an honest-to-goodness conversation and consultation with the people in the barangay, so that from their end they will be able to identify the development gaps that will have to be addressed by the government. So these development gaps, through the development gaps, we are able to identify the development projects that will have to be implemented. And these are the projects that are now being funded through the Support to Barangay Development Program. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Yusek Torres, additional inputs.
Yes, sir. Just to give a brief input also regarding BDP. We can say that lasting peace and genuine progress can only be attained if no one is left behind. And BDP provides this opportunity for all of the communities, particularly in far-flung areas, in geographically isolated and disadvantaged area, not to be left behind. Because in those areas, a lot of facilities are wanting. Walang daan, walang eskwelahan, walang health stations, walang ilaw, walang tubig. And these are the 5 core projects na hinahatid natin sa mga BDP barangays. But not only that, they participate in the actual implementation. So whole of government approach, in the actual implementation of the project, meron pong may mga yung ibang ahensya ng gobyerno, yung cash for work, yung mga ganon, and other programs of the government that comes into play towards the implementation of the project. So nagkakaroon ng livelihood yung mga tao doon. They learn also from the experience. Bayanihan spirit was enlivened dun sa area. So that's why I mentioned a while ago, BDP is so much a part of local peace engagement because they do not just see, but they even feel the importance of really coming together in uplifting the conditions of our countrymen living in far-flung areas. That's why, yung tanong kanina, we were able to do the almost impossible since the establishment of Ntf-Elcac in December 4 of 2018. So, less than 5 years po. Again, kung nasa serbisyo po kami, swerte na yung isang taon na may 2 guerrilla front na dismantle. Because in dismantling 1 guerrilla front, you need to clear probably 50 to 100 barangays. And it is not easy to clear just a single barangay. Because when we say clearing a barangay, hindi lamang armed component. Pati yung politico-military structure niyan has to be addressed, or eliminated. Barangay-based institution has to be established. Barangay intelligence net has to be established also. Integrated territorial defense system dapat nandiyan. And may makapacitate yung mga local chief executives sa area before clearing a certain barangay. 1 barangay lang yon. Ano po naging tulong ng BDP? Yung trust and confidence, kaya nawalan na sila ng mass base nila. So of the 89 na guerrilla fronts, 68 were dismantled. So 21 na lang po yung naiiwan. Yung 19 na weekend, ibig sabihin wala na silang matataguan na mass base nila. So it's just a matter of time, kung tuloy-tuloy pa rin po yung mga ganitong efforts natin, in making the community really feel that they are part of the government, hindi na sila makaka-recover. So focus military operation tayo dun sa 2 remaining guerrilla fronts, one in Northern Samar, and ito, bago lang kasi na-review, this is just to show that we are constantly reviewing yung ating situation on the ground. Doon sa Bicol, siguro naman na napapakinggan ninyo, in the recent past, medyo nagkaroon ng mga occurrences doon ng mga armed encounters, ganyan. So, nagkaroon tayo ng isang active guerrilla front sa Bicol. Pero nawala naman yung sa Northern Samar. Because there used to be 2, I think 2 months ago, 2 active guerrilla fronts in Northern Samar. Na-weekend na yung isa, baka tumawid sila, magkalapit lang naman po yun. No?
Tama.
So yung 19 na weekend barangay ngayon, 6 sa Luzon, 7 sa Visayas, at 6 sa Mindanao. So hopefully ay ma-dismantle. And our pledge cluster, yung peace, law enforcement, and development, and security, cluster natin, they are very much confident that towards the end of this year, most of the weekend guerrilla fronts would be dismantled also. And then based on our timeline, by 2025 ay wala na tayong kino-confront na guerrilla front, and we would be focusing really on peace and development effort. So kami po sa Ntf-Elcac, National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict. So it's just quite obvious from the title of the organization alone that our focus for the past 4 years na nakapag-dismantle tayo on the average of 17 guerrilla fronts per year, which was parang seemingly impossible before. But because of this mechanism that we have now, whole of government approach, whole of nation participation under the ambit of good governance, it is really working very, very well. So with that, we would be, yung isagot na rin siguro sa unang mong tanong kanina, yung way ahead natin, yung roadmap natin, we would be proposing for a shift in our focus on unity, peace, and development in the coming, it may not be this year, but probably in the coming years of this administration. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Yusek Jun Torres. Angel, from your end, we have from Q Asia.
Just a follow-up po regarding doon sa BDP. Regarding sa confidence level na yung mga projects po natin sa mga barangay will not be in any way ma-targeted or sabotaged by the CTG, especially on the active CDG fronts, let's say Bicol or Samar. Meron po tayong mga projects. Yun po, follow-up lang po doon.
Oo. Kasi yung mga target, yung mga BDP barangays natin were previously influenced barangays that were already cleared. So sustainment effort yung BDP. And part of the process in clearing a particular barangay is the establishment, kagaya na binanggit ko kanina, of integrated territorial defense system. Meaning, nagtutulong-tulungan po yung mga uniform and non-uniform civilian community in the area to really protect their barangay. And part of that is also the establishment of barangay intelligence network, which can provide vital information to drive away not only CTGs but even criminals going into the even drugs actually lahat ng mga threats sa community may be addressed by this mechanism. So we can be sure, ma'am, na pag in-implement na po and the monitoring evaluation system, kahit kami po sa Ntf-Elcac, we are also a part of that monitoring system, then third-party monitoring system pa, sir. So there are a lot of checks just to see to it that the implementation of the projects are properly being carried out. Yung sa security sector naman, yun ang nabanggit ko kanina, nagtutulong-tulungan po ang community in the security sector to see to it na ma-implement sa lalong madaling panahon at sa magandang paraan yung mga BDP projects po natin. Kaya po sana ay masuportahan po natin itong another batch natin ng BDP barangay for 2024. Thank you po.
Thank you.
Season for the approval of the budget proposal for the Barangay Development Program. Let me just emphasize that the budget is not was never held by Ntf-Elcac. No? The budget is a line item budget in the DILG budget, but it is directly released to the local government units. So, as we have explained here today, the Barangay Development Program is a critical component in the government's program to end local communist armed conflict. And we hope that our senators and good congressmen will continue to support the BDP project in the years to come. Marami pong salamat.
All right. Thank you very much, ADG Malaya. Yusek Torres, for your parting message.
Thank you once again, Joel, for having me here. Siguro masasabi natin na abot kamay na natin yung ating minimithing kapayapaan, kaligtasan at kaunlaran. And the continuous implementation of the BDP programs, nakita naman po natin, it uplifted the conditions of our brothers and sisters living in far-flung communities, needy communities. Huwag po nating ipagkait sa kanila yung pong ganitong opportunity to uplift their conditions and improve their lives. So, suportahan po sana natin, nakikiusap po tayo sa ating mga mambabatas to once again support the implementation of the BDP Barangay for 2024. Para po tayo ay patuloy na makapagtulungan at ma-realize natin yung ating ambisyon na magkaroon ng isang matatag, maginhawa at panatag na pamumuhay para sa lahat ng Pilipino. Maraming salamat po.
All right. Thank you very much, Yusek Jun Torres. And Yusek Marlo Iringan for your message po.
Thank you very much, Director. No, of course, the government is truly committed to the pursuit of peace and development in our country, particularly in the previously CTG-affected barangays. And we can only do this if the honorable members of Congress will continue to support the provision of fund for the support of barangay development program. For the 864 barangays targeted for 2024, we already have the list of the priority projects of these barangays. Gathered through an honest-to-goodness consultation with the members of the community. So we are ready to provide the House of Representatives and the members of the Senate a copy of the list of projects. And we hope that, again, for 2024, the funds we are asking for will be provided in the General Appropriations Act. Maraming salamat.